Directorate of Public Relations of the Australian Army presents War Correspondent. Your name is Mike McCann. You're a war correspondent. For the people of this atomic time who know that peace belongs only to the prepared, you tell these stories of the Australian Army on active service. Your name is Mike McCann, war correspondent.
I'm Mike McCann. In World War II, one of the most valuable contributions to victory was paid by a handful of Australians who lay hidden on hill crests in a dozen different places, overlooking the sea lanes used by the warships and troop transports of the Japanese. From their secret lookouts, these Australians, often described as coast watchers, looked out across waters where the enemy believed they could move with immunity. At first, the Japanese were unaware of the eyes that watched them from hills in territory they'd conquered. But as sinkings increased, it became obvious that there were hostile eyes within their own camps, so their vigilance increased. The Australians, who day by day lay concealed on hilltop lookouts, were soon harried and pursued by the Japanese, and coast watching became a grim and a hazardous part of modern warfare. The part those Australians had played had been difficult enough, with food and medicines in short supply, while disease and occasional treachery among natives were constant threats. There had been loneliness and isolation, too. But now that the enemy actively joined the forces against them, the task of watching and reporting on enemy ships and aircraft became one for only the toughest, most determined and cunning men. With meager resources, they had to outwit the powerful and determined enemy, and this they did in many places. One such place was on a 4,000-foot hill on the island of Tawi Tawi that lies about 150 miles northeast of Sandakan in Borneo. It was to this southernmost island of the Philippines that Australian soldiers of the 8th Division escaped from Japanese prison camps. The first to go there were 3 Australians who paddled a native canoe there after escaping from a prison camp on Borneo. And these 3 joined Filipino guerrilla fighters who had a post on that island of Tawi Tawi. And from the top of the 4,000-foot hill, called Thumb Hill because of its towering shape, they set up a ship-watching station over one of Japan's most important sea communication routes to the Nippon armies fighting in the New Guinea region. At first, it was a comparatively placid life on Tawi Tawi, even slightly boring. As Jim Kennedy, formerly a sapper in the 8th Division, enlisted from Yallourn in Victoria, who had seen service in the Navy in World War I, lay on top of Thumb Hill, watching.
What do you make of it, Jim?
A bit tricky in this haze, Charlie. This tropical light on the sea, it glares. You know, sort of makes a mirage out there.
I see what you mean. Yeah, looks like a toy ship sitting right in the middle of a polished brass tray. In fact, you'd swear it was floating just above the tray.
That's what I mean, Charlie. Heat haze out there creates a sort of illusion, just like in a desert. I'll tell you one thing. She's a big one. I reckon she's well loaded right down to a plimsoll, I'd say, from here. Making a slow rate of knots, too, just plugging quietly along.
Suppose they reckon they're safe as houses, eh, Jim?
Yeah, and so they are. Safe as a Jap house in an earthquake. There they go, plodding along in Japanese hell waters. You know, they'll tighten up their security when they get further towards New Guinea. That's if they ever get there. Put them off their fish heads and rice if they knew that in 5 minutes' time their speed, direction, and approximate tonnage was being radioed to United States Navy headquarters to be passed onto a Yank sub lying somewhere along the track.
That's life, old-timer.
Too true, Charlie. Short, not too sweet up in these parts. What other boys are going across to Borneo?
I got a fair idea, Jim. Come on, you fix the radar knots, direction, tonnage yet? I'll signal it down.
You needn't send it, Charlie. It's getting towards dusk and we won't be seeing any more today. Not by the look of that haze. She's building up fast. There's weather in it. I'll come down with you and get the message off.
Yeah, I'm awake up to you. It's the feast this afternoon.
What feast?
Don't give me that. Come on, we got 700 feet of ladder to climb down. Let's get moving. What do you think of it, Jock?
Hey, it's a bit of all right.
What is?
That bullock roasting on the spit.
Yeah, but you got your eye on that Filipino girl dancing there.
Hey, graceful, isn't she? Not that I go for those shuffling kind of dances.
And how's that tuba?
A refreshing drink, Charlie. Not the real stuff from Scotland, of course, but it fills a need. I never thought coconut juice had so much heart in it. Aye, it's a grand party. All these bonny girls in their pretty sarongs, plenty of good food. Some of it may be a wee bit outlandish, but it eats well. Then, of course, this wee drop of stuff that cheers. Better than a Jap prison camp,
Yeah. How long is it going to last, Jock? The Japs must wake up soon or we're reporting on their shipping movements.
That's no kind of party talk, lad.
Yeah, maybe not. We'll have to face it sooner or later.
Face it tomorrow when you're climbing up that thumb hill. If the Japs land here and cut us off on top of that hill, they're not going to have much of a show. We can't pull that ladder up the cliff behind us.
No, we can't, Jock.
So what's the use of worrying? The Filipino lads have got their part of it organized. Any sign of the Jap coming and they'll have that transmitter dismantled and hidden in the jungle. The Japs will never find it.
And that'll mean the end of our coast watching, too.
Oh, I don't know so much about that, lad. There's plenty more islands around these parts. And the American headquarters up on Mindanao Island can send us another transmitter. Oh, no, Charlie. There's no great cause for worry. It's a party night. Have another mouthful of this tuba. It'll make you forget the Japs. Come on, join the party. Listen to that music. Those drums get your feet hopping, huh?
Listen, Jock.
I'm listening, lad, with both ears.
Do you hear what I hear?
What? Aye. Quiet, everybody, quiet! Aye. Undercover, everyone, undercover. It's Nippon. There it is. Jap fighter. I'll keep undercover now. He's having a good look-see. Look at him, the nosy Parker. Scarf round his neck. Pity he didn't hit one of those treetops.
He's low enough, Jock.
Aye. You'll know something's been going on here, that's certain. In his cunning little brain, he'll be saying, "Oh, feasting." Then he'll work out that it's not the Mohammedan feast time, and he'll say, "Oh, I wonder why they're feasting." Once the Jap starts wondering, he's got to come nosing round. Yes, Charlie, I think we can expect some visitors soon. There he goes. But my guess is we won't have long to wait before he's back with a lot of his mates. Let's get out of this. The party's been spoiled. There's Jim Kennedy across there. Let's see what he thinks about it all.
Heard about our visitor yesterday afternoon, Colonel?
The Japanese fighter pilot, eh? Oh, yes, I heard he upset the feasting and dancing.
What'd you make of him, Colonel? Casual visitor?
One can only guess, Mr. Kennedy, but one can guess accurately when one has many signs to use as a guide.
Many signs.
Yes, many. This Japanese fighter aircraft is the latest. But before this, we have heard from natives fishing in these waters that the Japanese are becoming interested in whether any white men are known to be in this area, whether any radio has been seen or heard. And from our friends who go to sea fishing, we have heard that more Japanese patrol boats are assembling in ports along the Borneo coast, and more Japanese reconnaissance aircraft are in the air, searching. Always searching, my friend. For what?
I'll have a guess at that, Colonel.
Yes, that is easy. They are looking for this radio that day by day tells the Americans what is happening in these waters. And they are looking for the eyes that watch and tell of the movement of their ships and aircraft. We must be hopeful they can never find us, Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah.
You and your Australian Army friends were not here before when the Japanese paid us a visit. But you have seen the burned stumps to show where our town of Batu Batu once stood. And you have seen the graves.
Yes.
So we must always be cautious. And should the Japanese become too interested in our little island, then we must go. We must go so that innocent people living here will not suffer.
We Australians understand that, Colonel. But we must continue to do what we can against the Japanese.
Ah, that we understand. And each day when our people watch you climb to the top of the mountain, we are happy because we know that we continue to fight the Japanese, even though they have swept through our land burning our towns and killing our people. But there comes a time when wisdom is more valuable than courage. It is the time when the jungle cat sheathes his claws and moves to another lair. So I have been telling our guerrilla headquarters in Mindanao that soon we might have to go from Tawi-Tawi.
Well, that's a pity, Colonel. We've got a good view of Japanese shipping from Thumb Hill. And you and your Filipino boys have got the radio link working like a charm.
That is so. And this thing I speak of, this shifting from this island, is not a thing of today. Maybe not tomorrow. But it is a thing to be thought of. It is a thing to be ready for when the Japanese come. But for the present, have you a signal you wish to send?
Oh, yes, Colonel. Would you let headquarters know that 0930 we sighted one Jap seagoing tramp of the Oshimi class proceeding south on a bearing...
Get that one away, Jim?
Yep. There'll be a sub-skipper somewhere out there licking his lips right now. Still there, eh? Slow as a turtle. Colonel Suarez was down at the transmitter when I called him. He's got a feeling the Japs might be onto us here.
Yeah, I got the same feeling myself. Particularly since that Jap recce came over so low yesterday afternoon. Stands to reason, Jim, they suspect this island. The Yanks had a naval base round here before the war, and the Japs must suspect the locals of having friendly feelings towards the Allies.
Yes, the Jap will suspect it, all right. But my guess is that right now he's just too busy trying to consolidate down south. If ever he feels secure down New Guinea way, you can bet on him paying a lot more attention to these backwaters.
And then Colonel Suarez and his guerrillas will really cop it.
And us, maybe. Unless the Filipino guerrillas are too smart. Well, that could be on, too. When you look at this coast-watching setup operating right under the Jap's nose and territories captured, you begin to wonder just how smart he is. Now, the Jap will probably come calling, all right, but whether he'll find anything's another matter. Hey, look at that Jap tramp.
What? Strike a light, she's exploded.
Tin fish, Charlie. That's what she's copped.
But how long since you sent the message about it, Jim? It couldn't happen.
Sure it could happen. But we send from here, guerrilla headquarters transmit from the United States Navy wavelength, and a Yank submariner lying doggo somewhere around these parts moves into position, ups periscope, and there's the target, large as life. Zoom boom, and one Jap tramp steamer less. There she goes, stern first down, straight as a die.
Didn't take long.
No, hit those babies in the right place and there's no time wasted. Any boats away from her?
I can't see any. I can see some craft beyond her. See? About 2 degrees to the left of where the tramp was.
Yeah, I can see something there. It wouldn't be the subsurfaced.
Don't think so, Jim. Seems to me to have superstructure. Yeah, I'd say it's heading this way.
You're right there, Charlie. It's coming in our general direction. Looks as though it could be a fishing boat. That's what it looks like from this distance.
Yeah, and scooting to keep clear of that sub, I'd say.
The haze is getting up again. Getting hard to see him now.
Better raise the alarm, eh?
Yeah, hoist the signal, we'll keep watch. It's more than likely a fishing boat paying a call. We'll know soon enough. Filipino boys will keep us posted.
The almost uncanny manner in which Allied submarines knew of Japanese shipping movements through these island channels stirred the Japanese into investigation. First, they sent reconnaissance aircraft low over islands that had been bypassed in the drive south. The Japanese also enlisted the services of native informers and gradually pieced together from their intelligence reports a picture of the guerrilla organization. They knew that at least 8 Australian soldiers had escaped from a prison camp on Bahala Island near Sandakan, Borneo, and they knew that there were Filipino soldiers who had taken their arms to the jungle to carry on the fight. And so the Japanese decided to investigate. The guerrilla fighters, with that sixth sense which was vital to survival, felt the increasing Japanese interest and warned the guerrilla headquarters on Mindanao, a major island of the Philippine group to the north of Tawi-Tawi, where the Australians had set up their watching station. But there had been false alarms previously, so the guerrilla headquarters bade the Filipino guerrilla leader, Colonel Suarez, to bide his time and watch. And so the Australians watched. And it was on this 5th day of August, 1943, that the time came. It was the day the Australians had to show their hand, although they did not suspect it as they lay on their hilltop watching the boat they took to be a friendly fishing vessel moving steadily towards the southern tip of Tawi Tawi. Guerrillas elsewhere on the island had been alerted, and, that having been done, the watchers on the hilltop resumed their search for targets for the Allied submarines that lurked beneath the hazy surface of this tropical waterway.
Quiet as a mill pond, Jim.
Real peaceful.
Fella could take up painting. Get a good picture out of that.
Heat haze and yellow sea.
I've been looking down from this hill. Look at the island spread out behind us. Green, tropical flowers, coral, and the sea just making a bit of foam along the beaches.
Like the picture, all right till you get close up and you smell the stink and get bitten by the mozzies and everything else that crawls, and you never stop sweating.
But you don't paint that.
Nah. If you want to paint anything, paint this place up here. At least it's cool, nice fresh breeze always blowing, green grass like back home. I'd rather be up here than down at sea on the beaches. We'd be baked like a cake.
Ozzy,
Stranger in paradise. What do you want, Johnny?
you must come. A Japanese fishing boat is approaching.
Where, Johnny?
It is coming to the jetty at Bongao. Soon it will reach there.
That's the fishing boat we saw, eh? Better have a closer look.
Probably the Japs seeing what they can catch.
Yeah, I'll bet on that. But what kind of a catch? Come on, let's get down to that sea no artist can paint.
My men can tell us nothing more, gentlemen. It is a fishing boat with a crew of Japanese. It has tied up at the old United States Navy jetty at Bongao, and the Japanese have come ashore. My men tell me they do not number many.
How can we approach the area, Colonel?
It would be best to take an outrigger canoe. You can paddle tonight without fear of discovery until you come to the headland below Bongao. You will know it by the old Spanish fort, which stands in ruins on the heights overlooking the jetty.
So we get there and we see it's a Jap fishing boat. What then?
Then I think it would be best to let them be. If they do not suspect we are here, then we should not arouse their suspicions. Do you agree?
Makes sense.
Aye, but just in case, we'll take along something to make them remember us if needs be, huh?
Yes, of course. It is possible my men have been mistaken, but who can tell?
So we'll take no risks, eh, Colonel? If they're just after fish, then we won't draw the crabs.
Pardon? These crabs?
Figure of speech, Colonel. If the Japs aren't looking for a blue, we won't buy 'em one.
Your tone of voice, I understand, but these other things, for me, they are a mystery. However, you will require an outrigger canoe for 3, and then these crabs and blues, I will leave with confidence to you. Eh, gentlemen?
Fine night for a wee row, Jim.
Better than when we paddled across from Bordeaux, Jock.
Aye.
All quiet ashore, Jock.
Aye. I've an idea we must paddle around this headland before we bring the village into view. I'm hoping we're not doing all this paddling just to look at a handful of miserable Jap fishermen.
Yeah, what do you want to find there? A Jap battleship.
Aye. Could be more fun for us in a Jap battleship than a simple fishing boat.
Good odds, eh? 3 Australians with automatic weapons and a Jap battleship.
Aye. And I can recall the Japs telling us in one of their news bulletins back in Changi that one of their sailors had sunk a Yank battleship with a rifle bullet.
Ah, so that's what's in your silly Scotch head. You reckon you can do the same? That Jap story was something fishy to go with their rice.
All right. But if it is a Jap battleship, there'll be no harm in trying. Shh. There's the headland. You see that pile of ruins the Colonel told us to watch for?
That's it. Have to go quietly now.
There's a mast above the skyline, Jim. You see it, Jock?
Aye. Maybe we'd better land here on this side of the headland and crawl across. Let's see.
Okay.
These pebbles are going to be hard on the knees, but we'd better keep down.
Jock, there's the village. See your shining lights.
I could smell it, even if I hadn't spotted the lights. You see it, Charlie? Those few houses there built on stilts over the water.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see Japs inside one of them, too.
You've got better eyes than me. Those oil lamps down there are just a glimmer for me. Listen. Aye, the Japs are there, all right. Making a night of it by the sound of things. Probably wetting their heathen throats with a wee drop of sake.
I'd reckon the boat's lying further along the headland, Jock. See the stick above the skyline?
Yeah, that'll be it, Jim. The jetty's down that way. It's dark along there.
We'll creep up on them. And better go quietly in case they've left a sentry.
On a fishing boat?
That's what we're going to find out.
See you, Jock?
No, it's too dark for me. It's what I can smell. Smell anything familiar?
Japs.
That's right. And I don't smell a fishing boat. Let's get closer and go easy now. There's something here I don't like. Jock, do you see it now?
Not all of it. What is it?
It's a sub chaser, Jock. A sub chaser and a good 100 feet of her. And with more guns on her than the Prince of Wales and Repulse. See her, Charlie?
Yeah, I see her. See her too clearly.
What do you see?
Looks like 4.5 guns. And machine guns rigged. There are depth charges along the sides. I can see a couple of dirty big searchlights up there, too.
Well, let's go a wee bit closer. We can see if there's anyone aboard her. No need. Look.
Yeah, Jap sentry. If he knew how close he was to heaven.
Come on. Let's get out of here before he decides to have a stroll along the jetty. I'd not like to be walked on.
Well, there she is. A fine, strapping piece of Japanese warship. And what do we do?
Well, it's not a fishing vessel.
No, and we've paddled a long way.
All right. How do we do it?
I don't rightly know, but it seems to me that Japanese crew is having a wee bit of a wild night along there in that village. And when they come to rejoin their beautiful warship, we might be able to hand them a surprise, huh?
Jock, their party's breaking up.
Aye, and about time. Stars are going down any time now.
Here they come. 20. 25. 30, Jim. How many have you counted?
Closer to 40. There'll be more aboard that sub-chaser. Reckon we've pulled on something here. Look at her armament.
It's getting light, and they're going to see us if they come walking round. Here, what do you say we get into that old fort there on the headland? It's good cover, and overlooks the channel the sub-chaser has to move out through.
That's a good idea. Let's get moving.
Historical, isn't it?
What's historical?
Taking up firing positions in here where the Spaniards used to be.
I hope they built those walls pretty well. If that sub-chaser gets those guns onto us, we'll need more than history to shelter us. Look at them running about like a lot of monkeys.
The crew's lining up.
Hey, got to pay their morning respects to the Emperor. Look at them bowing to the Imperial Palace. Make good shooting, wouldn't it, if the range was a little shorter? Aye, let them say their prayers. By the time they come around to pass this point, we'll have them well within range. Eh, Jim?
Sitting ducks, Jock. There they go, breaking off. Won't be long now. They started up. Good diesel by the sound of her. And there go the Jap officers onto the bridge. Reckon we all let them go, Jock?
No, Jim. Their next port of call would be Batu, and it's possible they'd surprise our boys there. No, let them come within 80 yards range as they pass this point, and we'll see how well they can fight.
They're casting off. She's going astern. She's got to come into this channel at 90 degrees, I'd say. She's got a lot of length, and the Japs are going to be busy working her out of here without worrying about us. Here she goes, backing up. And the skipper's working her bows around to head her through the channel.
The Japs are manning their guns, Jim.
Probably their seagoing procedure, Charlie. They don't know what they'll meet outside. But it's obvious they've got no idea what's waiting for them as they go through this channel below the old fort. There, he's rung for engine ahead. She's a nice craft, fast and powerful by the look of her.
The weapons are the things that interest me. They've got guns sticking out of her like prickles on a porcupine.
It's keeping her revs down. Must be a tricky passage here. That's right, Skipper. Keep her nice and slow. See any targets yet, Jock?
Aye, I'm just waiting for that chap Skipper to move into my sights. There's a nice little bunch on that bridge I can take care of. What about you, Charlie?
That's too easy. So many targets, I can't make up my mind.
Well, here she is. Do we or don't we?
That Jap skipper is going to need it. Fire!
Another redskin hit the deck. Look at him go!
She's giving her the herbs. From the way she veered when we opened up, I'd say that Jap skipper cocked it.
Cooked it, and about a dozen others. And look at them heading out for sea. They don't know where we are yet. Firing blind.
I'd say they got a shock, Jock.
Aye, fatal in many places. Yeah, but I'll tell you something else. I reckon that right now there's a Jap signaller on the radio calling up the Jap Navy, Air Force and Army and anybody else he can muster. I'd say that from now on this neck of the woods is not going to be healthy for guerrillas. Come on, let's get our canoe and head for home.
The Japanese submarine chaser returned to Tarakan with 11 dead aboard. And before the 3 Australians had paddled back to Batu Batu, Japanese bombers had been over the town seeking vengeance. It was the end of a period of comparatively peaceful coast watching for the Australians, and the beginning of a running fight that lasted for another 2 years across mountain and jungle, with Australians behind the enemy lines successfully pitting courage, skill and cunning against what could have been overwhelming odds.
War Correspondent, recorded by Robert Peach Productions, is presented for your entertainment by the Australian Army's Directorate of Public Relations.